everybody, we're live, and I'm joined tonight by Napsa and Dridlicious. Hello, everybody.
Hello. Hello there.
How are you all doing?
Tonight's topic of discussion is all about visitors to your fortress. All of the people who come to your fortress whose primary objective is something other than to raid you or to attack you. So not overtly hostile, although it doesn't always stay that way. But first of all, let's do some introductions. Napsa, if we start with you, would you like to tell everybody where they can find you on the internet, and let everybody know how long you've been streaming Dwarf Fortress, or how long you've been playing Dwarf Fortress, and how you got into it in the first place?
Yeah, sure. So, I call myself Knap mostly, but Napster is of course fine, and that's my nickname, and that's how you find me both on here on Twitch and on YouTube. I don't have one of those fancy URLs on YouTube, but if you search, you should be able to find. And if you find something that says Napster, it's probably me. And and here on Twitch, it's Napsors. It's straight like that. And I've been playing since could it be 7 years? Somewhere since 2016, I think. I started streaming, and I started streaming Dwarf Fortress. And at that point, I was, very new to it. Let's see here. I had heard of Dwarf Fortress, and I thought it was something very old, and that must be true, depending on like that. At that point, it would still have been like 10 years old at least, or something. But I thought it wasn't something as active. But then I saw one of the streamers, or like content creator I watched at the time, Quill18, he, from time to time, he played Dwarf Fortress. So at some point I got to see that, and I was really into that, and I thought, I'm gonna play this too, and I'm gonna stream it. And in the beginning, of course, I remember like maybe my first or second Fortress on Twitch, on stream, people were sighing in chat because me using the interface in a non-optimal way, like individually designating one stone at a time to dump from a room and such. And I'm like, oh no, I'm bad. But I've learned since then, and now I'm relearning, and it's going well, slowly and fine, I would say. I'm streaming once a week, so I'm not getting through new stuff as quickly. Like you're probably into your 11th Fortress or something.
Believe me, I'm still, every so now and then I'm coming across a thing where it's like, well, I used to know how to do this. I've no idea how to do it now. But also something that, like, when I've been talking to the players who've been playing it for a really long time, with the tens of thousands of hours, because I think I must be up near tens of thousands of hours myself, but talking with other people with that kind of experience, it's funny how even with our combined pool of knowledge, none of us know everything that there is to know. We've all been learning off each other. I've learned so much doing these streams. It's incredible.
And I've learned too. I didn't actually know, like, I'm not one of those, I always build minecart and mine tracks and I do everything with them. Like, I almost never make mine tracks and minecarts because it's just so much work to do it. But one of your recent streams, you talked about mine carts, and I saw then that now I don't think it worked like that, at least not to its full extent, that it worked like before. Now that when you designate to engrave tracks, you can like drag both like on a plane and on sea levels, like, and around corners, and that's like, okay, maybe I could give it a shot again, because that's a lot more, well, easy to do. Not only easy, but it's like not uncomfortable to do it.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, sorry, you were saying you were watching Quill, and that's when you decided to stream Dwarf Fortress. What was it like getting into Dwarf Fortress for you?
Wasn't, I did what most people do. I got a starter pack and got into it and generated my world. I played for not too long before I started streaming. I made a maybe just one fortress.
Yeah.
And that went as it should potentially. I dug deep. Suddenly a blind troll or something came from the cavern and like killed half of the fortress or some more than that. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready now. Like I know how to build stuff, and this didn't go great, but let's go. So, well, of course, I've learned more streaming, like during, of course, like it's been several years, of course, I've learned more, like all over the place. But the basics, I feel like I got that down before I started, like just so that I would know how to, I had to practice the user interface that we had. Yeah.
Indeed.
I miss it sometimes. Maybe not the button mashing, but the details of the interface that you could get to know so many things about, stuff in the menus. Like they were inconsistent. There's a bit inconsistency still with searchability and like stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, we're still on the first pass, I think, of the interface. I expect it will improve leaps and bounds as we go on.
I want search bars so bad.
Yeah, exactly.
So
That's
bad.
one of the things. There is one menu now where you can search, and maybe two, but it doesn't work very well, really. So that is absolutely one thing. Search bars.
Yeah.
I want them everywhere. Everywhere there's space.
Everywhere.
I want a search bar in there. I'd love it.
Search bar and filtering columns after like up down, such things.
And a few things that you could click through rather than coming in and out of menus would be nice as well, I think.
Yeah, sometimes when you just click, right click outside or like anything, or just when you actually are using the few search bars that exist and you haven't clicked inside of the text box and you start typing, and then you do like go up and down or something, and like, okay, again, yes. That's a little bit annoying, but of course, I hope really much that it's gonna happen. I also, when it comes to like the user interface, like it seems, I'm hoping that they will, like, what would you say, treat different mods not equally. Like you have mods, you change the raw, you add a creature or something, change generation of stuff, that would have to be as we have now. That mod would have to be activated before you generated. Yeah, at World Gen, exactly. But then we have things like I've seen these like more sounds in the alerts and all of that, like just simple UI mods, and you need to have them at World Gen 2, which is technically I don't think not necessary, but yeah, such things, small things would be very nice. But it's still Dwarf Fortress underneath. Some of the things are hidden or hard to get to now, but it should come.
Indeed.
We're only halfway there. When I'm 80, I'll be playing a perfect Dwarf Fortress experience.
Indeed. And Drid, let's bring Drid in. So Drid, would you like to let people know where they can find you on the internet, and also how long you've been playing Dwarf Fortress? Because I described you as an experienced player, and you refused that description. So we've decided to describe you as a long-term on and off player.
Yeah. I'm Drid. I'm a dingus on the internet. I stream at Dridlicious. I have a YouTube channel as well. Should be easy to find it. I got into Dwarf Fortress with little bits of boat murdered.
Oh.
That's what I was like. I kind of need to play this. It just immediately gripped me. So then I found the Lazy Noob pack, of course. And I did the whole thing playing with aquifers off. Didn't want to deal with any of that. And a lot of my early forts, they were pretty messy. I still remember I had no idea really what was happening at the time, but somehow I had a bunch of my dwarven children in one of my first forts got into a bunch of fights with capybaras, which they're like the most chill animals, so I don't even know how that happened. And they were dodging into the river, I now know. But at the time, I thought they were being like dragged into the river by capybaras. I'm like, wow, this is brutal. My kids are being drowned by capybaras. Like I didn't even really, it wasn't there was no siege or anything. Just this wildlife is murdering me. So I had fun. I mean, but that's the thing. That was fun. I mean, I enjoyed it quite a lot, even though they were all kind of just dying to their own stupidity, effectively. I still really got a kick out of it, and I just kind of used the there's a ton of great resources out there with the wiki and everything. And I just kind of futzed around with it until I figured stuff out, and I got some of those. We were talking about hotkeys a little bit. Got some of that muscle memory down. I still have to kind of fight that sometimes with the new interface. Actually, I'm like trying to throw down certain bits of furniture or whatever, and I'll kind of default to the wrong hotkeys. But yeah, that's kind of my history with it. Every couple of years, I would just pick it up and mess around with it. I never did anything terribly elaborate, but again, I always just really appreciated the level of detail, the combat descriptions. This game has some of the best combat descriptions I have seen in anything. I still remember when I first played RimWorld after playing this, and I was just like, wow, these combat descriptions are such a letdown. No one's getting, they're not grabbing someone's back tooth or toes or something. I mean, this is, this feels like such a letdown to me.
No one's being beaten to death
I
with a
love
sock.
RimWorld too, but oh, sorry.
So no one's being beaten to death with a sock.
Yeah, I really love the detail in this game. For me, it's what constantly keeps me engaged. It's great.
Oh, that's marvelous. Right, so let's have a look at our main topic of tonight. We'll start with I'll just show you what visitors I've got in my fortress, and then we'll have a look at you. You guys have both brought fortresses for us to have a look at. So we'll have a couple of fortress tours, and we'll have a look at what visitors you guys have got around. I believe at the moment I should have a diplomat in my fortress. Oh, maybe I haven't. Okay, so the diplomat must have left. We've certainly got monster hunters. We'll be talking about monster hunters. There they are. The little dragon heads, that means that they are monster hunters. We've got one who's praying and one who's socializing. Let's go to one of these guys. Yes, so, was it one of you up here? Ah, no, there it is. I think. Are you the monster hunter? Hang on, I just realised you're stood here socialising all by yourself. Is that a dead pig on the stairs. It is a dead pig on the stairs. I don't know why I've got a dead pig on the stairs.
You know, use normal
Indeed.
Dwarf Fortress stuff. Got a dead pig in the stairs, get a... whatever. Someone socializing by themselves. Totally normal.
Yeah.
Ah, this is one of the monster hunters. Looks like a regular dwarf. Let me just find that other one. Where were you? What was your name? Reg, the swords dwarf. Oh, so it was you. Yeah, so this guy here. So Reg, the swords dwarf, and Captain as well, who was back here, busy praying. So we shall have a look at those guys. I've done plenty of fortress tours of this fortress, so I shall not bother with a fortress tour. Nap, shall we go over to your fortress?
Ah.
Hang on, I'll just bring it up on screen.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, right. Would you like to give us a guided tour of your fortress? And we'll keep an eye out for any visitors that are in your fortress at the moment.
Yeah. So, this is the entrance. In a... let's see here. There's a mountain biome to the north, and then there's, well, some kind of forest biome. Nothing, very specific. We just got, an ordinary entrance with blood and vomit, as you should. I have my only well, actually, here in the entrance, because, I was attempting first to, utilize the light aquafire to make the well, but it was too light, so I just ended up doing a channel to the river, to the brook, and that was about that. And then I just annoyingly avoided the light aquifer, and of course the trade depot for trading with. I did offend the elves. So they sometimes they don't come, but I have humans and dwarves. I think I missed the dwarves last time. But yeah, if we go, so I usually have some kind of entrance like this. That gates to be able to close the fortress to the outside and be safe. But yeah, if we go down, we can see I have stockpiles. We got workshops, and we have a little bit of a staircase that goes up to my farming. I have a little bit of a what are they? They are hens over here. And we got some, my starting farms. So these are not very good. They have poor soil, as we now have in the premium. And after some time, I moved my animals inside. So they are over here. They're getting this moss and lichen and all of that to eat. Yep. If we go back down to my workshops, I was thinking that I would have symmetry. We all want symmetry. I want symmetry. So I'm not my fortresses often do not look very big and grand, but they have some symmetry to them. So I'm gonna have downstairs a ramp down, then a ramp down on both sides, and nah, just stop. And with the echo fire, I just change my mind. So if we go down a few levels where the ramp stops, I have my nobles, my meeting areas of different kinds. So we have a dining hall, not very big. I actually, before your stream about tavern specifically, I was thinking that because I've seen that too. They do go and eat inside tavern. They can, but they don't actually want to do that. So I focused a little bit more, put some stockpiles in here. Yeah, but we got the tavern. And also after that stream, like, you need the biggest dancing areas 10 by 10, so I shall have the biggest tavern with all the instruments. But have they danced? No, they have not. They have absolutely not. They used in here. They socialize. Not even now. I think they. Let's see. You're eating over here?
Maybe going to eat, I guess.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, they haven't danced. They have been. What is it called? They imitate or undulate. No.
Oh yeah.
They imitate. Mm-hmm. They imitate some instruments. I've done that in a row over here and had some kind of performance instead of using the, massive amounts of instruments that I've bought and put here. But yeah, the tavern also have some rooms connected to it, but I think I have that situation where use any dwarves stay there. Of course, a starting temple, a hospital, a growing number of tombs, library. Sometimes I like to put a room with a screw press and a workshop next to the library, as in like, we make books here, but then they might do it in the other craft dwarf workshops if that's what's happening. I haven't specifically said it.
Yeah.
And some specific deity temples. This one, I think they asked for something bigger, so I made it bigger. I think they are happy with it. I do put statues in my temples, even though you say you shouldn't, because, I think this is even, let's see here, no, that's of a dwarf, but this, of dwarves, come on, I know that some of these are of the deity. Yeah, here we go, where is a statue of Moldaf, a granite, and the actual, it's too bad that you can't get a little bit more information here. But this is for Moldaf, a granite cylinder. So I like having that. I pretend that they see the deity they are in here to pray for, and they must be happy. I pretend. But that's about that. Yeah, okay. A few. We have over here. We got the. I'm actually confused. This is my. Where are we at now? My Baron. Named after a viewer I have. If they die and want another dwarf, they get, a second. So I'm only up to second here, but I have one of my viewers in my last world before the premium version that I think we were up to like 8.
Oh dear.
Something. Yeah. I think we're actually not. We're supposed to be more than a barony, I think. Where do you see that again?
If you've been... It might have been that you've been told that you're about to be upgraded, but hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, but should have been happening. Let's see, center of my fort. Oh, let's see.
If you have a look on the civilizations button, might tell you... Yeah, there you go. But you only have a barony at the moment, so they haven't been promoted yet. But you might have been.
A message. Yeah. I feel like the two last times they've said, we're gonna elevate you, and then it hasn't really happened until like next time you get elevated. I don't know. It feels, you need to wait until they leave anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of time between things happen. But yeah, so that's this area where they hang out and have a good time. And then I have my bedrooms, lots of them. Everyone gets I don't know if everyone has a bedroom at the moment. But that's the goal. Some decoration, chest cabinet. Some of them like to store food.
Oh dear.
Apparently with their, even though they have, you have chest, you have cabinet, you don't need to put biscuits on the floor, but they do that. I have made some more bedrooms. Oh, this one likes scepters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, apparently. Who is that? Aren't you Oh, right, you need to...
Yeah, look in the
nowadays.
zones.
Yeah. toasted. And then you can't click on that one. Okay. Apparently likes scepters and potentially low boots. Yeah, so that's bedrooms coming up. For some reason, I don't remember my thinking, but I made my metal industry next to the bedrooms down here, so I have a bit of wood furnace and such to make. We have bituminous coal, making fuel, and we have all the forges and stuff over here. The gas furnace is pretty new, and I haven't done much for it. But with it happened quite recently that a lot of water got loose in the caverns, and then one tile, after having water on it, got sand on it. So now I have an infinite amount of sand. We have the metalsmith guild. I built it next to the metal industry area. I thought that was nice. They got a gold forge over here. That's very nice.
Fancy.
Yeah, fancy. And of course, at some point, I needed to get down to the caverns. These are, they are fine enough. So we have that, and this is, just the first cavern layer, empty, not too much. There's been a few forgotten beasts here, not too many. I think one of the fights were in this area, and everyone was like flying on the frozen extract from the. Yeah, like even the forgotten beast itself, like it was spitting frozen extract, and then everyone just flew up in the air several tiles. And the forgotten beast itself, I think some forgotten beasts even like get more damage done by them falling down after being blown up by their own extracts. I haven't really understood that part yet, but it's something. Yeah. And then kind of this is the end of the fortress. Then it's just no, actually I have expanded. Then it's just a lot of digging down, trying to find a lot of resources, digging up a lot of gypsum, and we have kaolite. And such things, and then you find more layers, of course, and the latest part of the, let's see, oh yes, here we have the stuff, the very exciting, let's see, where am I? Yeah, here's my sand. Oh no, my sand my one tile sand pile, it's a pile of mud.
Oh, I know how to fix that.
Okay. I'm so happy I had sand.
So to get rid of the pile of mud, build a chair or a table on the pile of mud, and it will remove the mud and expose the sand below it.
I hope that at some point this will be remembered between play sessions, the settings you have here, and hopefully also unique for every kind of furniture and such. That would have been very nice. Yeah, I've expanded my metal industry to over here because I found this candy down here.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, they have some stuff over here. I don't know how far we're gonna spoil, but I've been, digging through here. It's been kind of fun. This is new to me. Well, to everyone, how this works. So I have no idea what's happening, but it seems to be going quite well. But at some point, I guess I've been like worried, like what if the worst of the things happens?
Indeed.
Here, and then I have no fortress to show on this stream. But yeah, I think that's it actually. Then it's just like I've been trying to dig deeper through this. Like I've been stuck in the old version, like I want to dig deeper. I'm just at elevation 11. I need to get deeper.
Oh wow, this is really high.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been like, is this the way it's supposed to be? Am I special?
No, but, it's just this bit of the embark. Yeah, your caverns are really high up in the world.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know. I'm in the mountain. Yeah, we had. Let's see here. Oh, yes. Here we have a Forgotten Beast, seriously injured. But he's been fighting 2 other Forgotten Beasts down here. I actually did. I wanted this one to win, I think, but it didn't. Yeah, mostly, you get warnings, but I don't. I'm not connected to this cavern. If I by accident, which you do, that's how you could, detect them. I used wall. I'm trying to find a place where I have walled it off, but I don't do that. Can't see it right now. I used to wall it off and pretend it never happened. And then you still get a notification about, the Forgotten Beast. They fight each other, and you can, look at them and see, who wins.
Indeed.
Yeah, but that's fine.
So, do you have any visitors in your fortress at the moment?
Yes, actually, I had a big problem with that. In the beginning of this fortress, which is my first premium version fortress, I had a lot of visitors, a lot of monster hunters coming here. And I used like, oh, how nice. You're accepted. Let's see, where are they though? Some of them are
wow, you've got loads of monster hunters.
Why can't I see the
there they
are.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I had an issue. I didn't think. I was just like, oh, a lot of monster hunters wants to join my fortress. Oh, okay, sure. Like in the beginning, after my first, like when I had my first 7, they just came here like, they want to come here and hunt for monsters. They want to come here and stuff. And I accepted so many, like 20 maybe, or maybe, well, between 10 and 20 monster hunters, because I thought, like, yeah, that's good. Because, like, I'm not gonna make my own soldiers for a while. But then I had, like, 20 plus population, and they weren't doing anything.
Yeah.
And no one came. I didn't get any migrants. So that was a bit of a... I messed up there. And of course, I have lots of monster hunters. Some of them should be, let's see here. We have a lot of visitors too. So that's nice. I do like that we have like scholars coming. I think 2 of the visiting scholars are now the students of one of my scholars that are in the library. Let's see. We also maybe have No, at some point, from time to time, we have visitors that are like a big lizard kind of thing.
But they like some lizard people.
Yeah, but I don't know, because if they are, what kind of lizard people or whatever they are, because they are like named like this. They are like name, and then they are like general. And there's no way that I know to see what they actually are.
Have you looked at their description?
Yeah, now they aren't here.
Yeah.
So it's hard to see now, but I have. And then you have, they have scales and then all of that, so you can get it, but it doesn't say that they are a lizard man or something like that. So that's a little bit. But yeah, so I got a lot of, mostly in the, the tavern and the library. Yeah, let's see here. We have, if I look at the information for here, we have 2 scholars and 2 scribes. And I think it's for Onol, potentially, that I have 2 students. Let's see, we should be able to, if we find Onol in the list. Now we need, close, there. Onol, let's sort by name. I hope I did. Yeah, Onol. Yeah, now it would have been nice with a search. Oh, there we are. Olon. No, Onol. There, Onol. Worshipping, what? You're in the library, you shouldn't be worshipping there. Well. Let's see, we can go and check relations. You should have... That's an aunt. That's not the same thing.
Oh, his aunt's also a scholar.
Seems so. A lot of uncles. Nieces. Oh. Yeah, let's see. Oh, where could they... Okay, now you're not... You're just passing acquaintances. Cousin.
Oh, no, there.
Not...
Look, see, former apprentice.
Former apprentice?
So that suggests that his apprentice has become a master themselves.
Oh. Well, Logan, I remember Logan being one of them.
Ah.
So if we go and check... Where are you? Oh, you're also in the library. Let's see, you're discussing source liability. Oh, that's good stuff. Yeah, okay, and you... Not personality, maybe.
If you have a look at their skills and their knowledge, you'll see what he's learned.
Philosophy, like law. I think geography is the thing here. That they are talking. Maybe philosophy too. If we go... Do we have my ownal or whatever it was? Should be over here somewhere. I was thinking... Maybe... No! Maybe they weren't in the...
Yeah, he said he was going to worship, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. So I was thinking, like, no, you should be in the library, but they are not. But yeah, so we have that. And I think they've been getting some books copied or something. Right now we have 11. It's not always been that much, so something is happening. Actually, one thing that did confuse me a lot, like, making books is kind of complex. So that often doesn't go as easily as I would like to, like when they write books. But I was very confused because my manager said that no, we can't bind books because we don't have collected thread. And I just had no memory of ever reading that as a term before, collected thread. But apparently that should just be thread. You just need thread or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the thing that you need to mash plants, and then before they get rotten, you need to press them to sheets and stuff. That's a little bit annoying because I think these globs of... Let's actually go... Okay, you're gonna maybe have a heart attack. You're gonna go into my work orders. I have a few. Oh, okay. You didn't die. Very good.
No, I'm used to seeing lots of work orders on the screen.
Yeah, okay. Let's see here. We have, unrotten paper slurryable plants, which is like one of the best things ever, I guess. I mean, these paper slurryable plants, when they are mashed to globs, they very easily get rotten, and then they just stay there and seem to still be counted as, like, together with, the unrotten and rotten globs of paper slurryable plants. They seem to be counted, side by side as equals, it seems. So you need to, like, press them. Where was I? I have no idea. We're in the library.
We've looked at some of your scholars, and you've got some performers as well.
Yeah, actually, I hope this isn't anything weird. I'm a little bit, what's it called? Afraid that I did see a few streams ago that there was a visitor, and I basically clicked it away, and then I oh no, it was a necromancer. But I looked through my, my units and visitors, and I didn't find one. But after I looked at the recording, and I did see that, yes, there was a human necromancer coming to the fortress. So I'm afraid that, it could be, integrating itself, saying that it's someone else, not a necromancer, and just, coming here with its knowledge of life and death. Like, this sounds sus to me, for instance. I don't know. hopefully that's not gonna be too bad. But yeah, we have performers too, so they should probably be in the tavern. Like we have a goblin poet. Oh, we had recently, let's see, do I still have, there's a dead miner. We had a very, oh, what was the name of that one? I liked it so much. Let's see here, do we have it over here? There was a human entertainer of some kind. Where are you? Maybe I haven't, yeah, thine. Ah, yes, thine bard, the human thine bard. I just like your bard, thine bard. Very nice. I had fun about that, but I don't know if anyone else had fun about that. But yeah, thine was down in the caverns when I was digging that watery lava place and got into something that thine shouldn't have. Thine should have been more careful, but wasn't. But yeah, we still have goblin poets. I have, you know, a few of them. And that's kind of nice. I don't know, like, if we go to the description of this one, disdain perseverance, very good. Vengeful, also very nice. Personality. This kind of thing is new, I think, right? I like it, though. That they all have some kind of description of what they do when they're nervous. Let's see, you have... Where does it say? Somewhere it should say that you are evil. Dreams of bringing lasting peace to the world? No, this is a goblin. This is vengeful. This is wrong. Well, okay. But that's the thing, you know. The goblins, they are evil by nature. But they still, like, become poets and come to your fortress and they're just, like, good people.
Indeed.
It's kind of interesting. Let's see. If we go over to others, we should probably... Yeah, we have goblin poet there, human bard, another poet, an elf poet. Yeah, a few. A peddler, for reasons. A prophet. Right. I actually have that bigger temple that I made for one religion. They anointed a leader with, you know, one of their nice names, of course. But yeah, we have a lord consort with weapons, apparently. Yeah, of course. Yeah, there we go. Someone just named commander. Now, this one looks like a dwarf, but it's kind of like it would.
I think that's a human, isn't it? If you click on health and description, it will tell you.
Medium-sized creature prone to great ambition.
That's
so then,
human.
Then we know. But there's no, like, if the title or profession or whatever parameter is overwritten here with commander, it's kind of not there. Like, if you wouldn't know that all creatures that are medium-sized and prone to great ambition, they are humans. Like, then I don't know how you would know this is a human, unless maybe if we killed the commander and then it would have been a human corpse. I guess.
That's true.
Yeah, that's one way of science, the dwarven way. But yeah, was it any specific you wanted to see?
No, I think what we'll do now is we'll go over to, before we get into what each of these individuals do for us, let's just pop over to Drid's fortress. And we shall have a look at what Drid's got.
Okay. All right. Am I on? I'm actually not
1
seeing
second.
But, all right. Just let me know.
There we go. Right, Drid, you're on screen.
Okay.
I see your fortress, I think. Or do you also have a circular small... Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Much better.
Yeah. Well, here is the top of my fortress here. Don't, find the bits and socks and shoes and stuff lying around here. These are all the visitors I have at this fort at the moment. used to be kind of like, this is where we bunked out initially when I was, digging down and what have you. And then I kind of made it a pasture. You might notice it's a little on the empty side. There's a couple of chunks of meat lying around.
Yeah.
We had some visitors, and I don't have animals anymore.
What happened?
Long story short. The animals were first, is what happened. So the animals just, there's some more chunks.
Oh dear.
Yeah, there's elf blood, yak blood. There's kind of just chunks all the way, and then it kind of leads into more chunks. It's a little open right now. They kind of caught me at a bad moment, but here is the here's like another kind of entrance within, so that way I have like a couple of like levels within. There is a light aquifer, so I kind of took advantage of that to kind of dig up, and I made this little like reservoir that I used to flood this area for farming and everything. I also I probably could did something like that to do this as well, but this is where I'm getting my power from, which if I go all the way up kind of goes into this nearby river. I was planning on doing something with this. Haven't gotten around to it yet, though.
Kind of nice. It's like an island.
Yeah, so I must warn everyone. Before I get to
Chat says, show the baby in the well.
Shouldn't what be in the well?
Show the baby in the well, apparently.
Oh, the baby well. Oh, yeah. Well, okay. So, my original well that people were using to get their water for washing and, medical purposes and what have you. I just had it so that when I flooded out here, it would go over there as well, and, I just occasionally do that, and I have a source of fresh water kind of whenever I wanted it, right? Well, dwarven mothers, they're not always the best, right? And sometimes they'll just kind of leave a baby lying around. And, they kind of did that at the wrong moment, and now there's kind of just a bit. So I just kind of put a floor over that, and I was like, you know what, we're just going to kind of forget about the baby well. And
and there's a rat down. There's a rat on the baby skeleton.
Yeah, there is also a rat somehow under quite a lot of water, chilling out on the baby skeleton. That's been there for a long time.
That's so gruesome.
So here is the stockpile.
It is a big stockpile.
Now, yes. Now, this is my temporary stockpile. Yes, it's my temporary stockpile. But no, I kind of made this just to screw with people in chat, honestly. I just kind of went into it. I made like an isthmus right here through the wall just to drive people nuts. I kind of love it. However, its functionality past a point definitely took a bit of a hit, as you can kind of imagine, because, just try and find something in here, they started to run into problems with that. I got the mist generator there, but yeah, that's the ugliest part of my fort, I promise. Somewhat intentionally so. So yeah, here's my little area. We got some offices right near the stairway and what have you. This is kind of like a jail. Let's see. This is I need to do something with that. But yeah, this is kind of like a little barracks kind of area, which is also what I had going on up here and what have you. I got a couple of barracks sort of sprinkled around. Got a bunch of my rooms and stuff here. Got my more hoity-toity rooms, I suppose, if you will, over there. And this was my original inn.
That's the upside-down hut.
Yeah, people had it's an upside-down heart. That's the idea. Again, the randomly generated name I got for this place was love ring, and it was like, okay, I can roll with that and make some, heart themed things here and there. People decided to interpret this a little bit differently, so I just was like,
Yeah.
look, it's a heart, okay? You can't think about it from their perspective. They're walking in the room. It's just that from our, but yeah, anyways.
It's only from the top down it looks like a scrotum.
Whatever. Whatever. So then I decided to make a considerably kind of larger, I guess, right side round heart here, and then chat decided I should also put evil, like a little evil face in there for some reason, and we just kind of rolled with that. I got a library over there. I got a number of various guilds and what have you. Farther over. Below that, I have quite a bit more residential area, probably entirely too much. I've got another little dining area that I kind of tried to make like a after a plump helmet essentially, where there's like mycelium kind of spreading out below it and everything.
I've just noticed your bedrooms. That's actually a really good idea because they get more wool. And the walls count towards the wealth.
I don't know. I just kind of futzed around with a couple of designs, and I just decided to stick with that. Because it's not that, like, elaborate or anything. I should have spaced these rooms out more. I didn't know that I'm supposed to have, like, one whole... Or is it two whole things? Two whole blocks kind of separating it, or two walls separating it. I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, that's so that you can, if you engrave them, they engrave both sides of the wall.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
so
this design...
That design is actually really clever.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. Like, I've seen this design elsewhere. Two people doing this, like diagonal. They squeeze themselves through these diagonal passageways. Did you come up with this yourself, or do you have any certain inspirations for your fortress design here?
I just futz with it.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a terribly complex design. I'm not sitting here like I trademarked this.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah. But I mean, like this idea of doing the diagonal thingy and having doors in Eastern, by themselves, empty, square. Like it's other people have done it too, so you're not off, so to say, and you have no lowest level of sad dwarves. So you can't be doing that bad, even if you do not have any animals, as you said, or and a dead baby in a dead baby in the well.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone is happy.
But,
yeah. I mean, they're pretty happy.
They're reasonably happy. Yeah.
To answer a question in chat, engravings on walls are more valuable than engravings on floors. So by using that diagonal method that Drid's got here, you're increasing the amount of wall space, which means that you're, especially even just for the value of the smoothed wall in there, will be giving you more value to the room than leaving it empty, I imagine. I need to test it. We need to do some science.
Yeah, so I mean, I just kind of did for aesthetic reasons, like pretty much every other aspect of my fort, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of nice designs people have on their fortress. Like the way I do my fortress now is like some years ago I read a Reddit post about like how would you design a fortress, like what does make sense for a dwarf, like they don't know square rooms like and such, and after reading that I started like doing it the way I do now, but there's a lot of range width in like designs, like a lot of like no one has the same design on a fortress.
Yeah, there's a lot of room for expression in this game, and that is definitely one of the things I love about it. I mean, you can go with a radically different theme like every time. I usually try to incorporate some element of the, the random gen, the world gen type stuff into the various little bits and design that I'll have in my fort. And I don't know, I enjoy that. I enjoy that a lot. But yeah, I got this temple over here. And then that kind of goes down, and this is more of like a dedicated temple area that I was kind of working on here. Each one of these kind of being a little offshoot to a various deity. This is for the most important one that people kept whining at me for, to have, like a dedicated temple for them. This is another temporary stockpile. Yeah, very temporary stockpile. And then it goes down quite a lot. This is my first cavern.
That's a very tall cavern.
It just...
Oh my, that is a really tall cavern.
Keeps on going down, yeah. Oh, there's somebody's skeleton in there.
Yeah.
Okay, what happened was there was I think there's a fish person down here somewhere.
Ah, yeah.
And they scared one of my excellent, martial dwarves or whatever into dodging into the water and drowning.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's the reason, like the biggest reason probably that I stopped making water moats as a defense. It's not very good anyway, but like it's fun. But the biggest reason why I stopped doing water mode is that, like, when you were defending or like defending against siegers, and the dwarf were dodging, they jumped into the moat.
Indeed.
And died. So more dwarves were dying in my fortresses when I defended against siegers because they dodged into the moat I had made.
Yep.
More compared to that died from the enemies. So yeah,
I had exactly the same experience.
Yeah.
You might notice I had a moat up near the top, and it was drained. I had an interaction where I got attacked by or ambushed by elves, and I don't think the elves killed anybody, and I lost like 6 dwarves. Elves touching into my moat, and I kind of gave up on moats at that point. But a little bit farther down into, further into my caverns and what have you, I have like another little barracks that I can station people at, just in case something nasty pops up down there. I can react to it a little bit quicker. Speaking of which... Speaking of which, I kind of forgot about you. What are you, anyway? Whoops. Oh, okay, that thing's dead.
No.
Snow. That thing's... Someone's gonna...
you dangerous.
Someone's gonna whisper at that, and it's just gonna be disintegrated. It's fine. But yeah, down here, I don't know if this has been fixed. Can Forgotten Beasts, do they still get kind of stuck?
As far as I know, doors are still holding up against Forgotten Beasts. But, expect that to be patched out any time.
I do. That's why, I'm not even sure if that's still a thing. Because, I got a couple down there. And usually what I'll do is, they do like to fight each other.
Indeed.
So I will just unforbid these doors. I also, have these bridges, just to be extra careful in case that does get it, in fact, fixed or whatever. And then I will just raise the bridge there, and they'll kind of path to each other, usually ending up either in between in this stairway here, or they'll end up down here. And then I can just forbid the door again, and then if I need to unleash a Forgotten Beast, I can do that. And I can also acquire kind of a veteran Forgotten Beast this way, because a lot of them are just all right, I'm a trash monster, and then it just kind of falls apart and dies instantly or whatever. It's not, honestly that threatening. But if I ever want to unleash something on the surface, I can do that, which, speaking of which, where is my, In fact, yeah, over here that's kind of what I was working on. It goes up a long ways. Long story short, yeah, it goes all the way up here. I think it pops out like somewhere over here, or it should. I don't know. So the problem with that though is it's actually such a long out of the way path that it seems like dwarves are just like I'm not doing it, you know, because they'll like run out of water or booze and food and what have you before they really effectively get to the end of that. So I almost need to create, I think, I don't know, something kind of in between for them to stock up, or I don't know. But that's the plan, so I can kind of unleash that whenever I feel like. And yeah, as far as visitors right now, I pretty much just have these merchants. I had I believe I had a scholar visitor, but that kind of goes into a larger story that I can get into. I don't know if you want to, you know, jump to something else first.
Let's talk about traders first and diplomats. So when you first start your fortress, the first visitor that you will get to your fortress is the diplomat. Usually the diplomat and the trader arrives at the same time. It's usually the diplomat that you get to talk to. And you'll get the little diplomacy pop-up, and the diplomat will ask you if there is anything that you want to order for next year. And something to be aware of is that the diplomat is quite instrumental in determining future migrant waves, because the diplomat and the traders take news about your fortress back with them. So it's quite important when you get a diplomat to make sure you talk to them. Sorry, I'm still getting over a cold. Make sure you talk to them. You need a meeting area to do that. It doesn't. So they will meet with your expedition leader unless you've got a mayor. They'll meet with your mayor. If you've got a mayor. Sorry, I need just have to take a drink. There we go. Yeah, so they'll meet with your expedition leader at the start and your mayor later. You just need any kind of generic meeting area for the diplomat to be able to hold the meeting. And they'll offer you the option of ordering something for next year. And even if you don't want anything, it's always wise to place an order. It doesn't matter if you buy that thing or not. Just placing the order promotes diplomacy and will send the diplomat away happy. So, but the more things you order, especially at the start, before you've got a baron, the trade wagons that arrive are very small and they can't carry much stuff. So the bigger the order you place, the less random stuff they'll bring with them next year. So it's worth placing a small order, focusing on anything that you do want them to bring. But if there's nothing you want them to bring, still place an order anyway.
What would be regarded as small for a diplomat?
You mean a small order?
Yeah, a small order.
So it's the number of things that you order. So my first trade after the Steam release, I made the mistake of ordering everything that I thought we'd be able to afford. I wanted leather, and I think I ordered about 5 different types of leather. I ordered pigtail cloth, silk cloth. I ordered about 10 different types of wood, and then seeds of every type. And so when the trader turned up the following year, because they only bring about 3 or 4 pack animals, they they brought some of the leather and some of the wood and some of the plank cloth, and that filled their entire trade wagon. So they didn't bring any books or any interesting metal bars or blocks or any of the other interesting stuff that they might have brought.
So holding a bit back in the beginning could be a good thing.
Yeah, if there's... Because I like the traders to... I always look to see what kinds of metal bars they've brought. So that I get a stock of random metal bars. Things like lay pewter and aluminium and nickel and... just so that if later on down the line when I've got a noble who's demanding that I build, that he wants an amulet made out of something like sterling silver, I'll have the materials on hand to make the things that the nobles demand later. Because you get all kinds of random stuff. So yeah, just stocking it from the trade depot, I found to be a useful way to do it. So
I also remember that you mentioned several times that you like to buy a little bit of everything. So say not much, but something of everything from merchants, so that you have a little bit of whatever for when you get a possessed dwarf.
Yeah, strange moods. So if you've got a dwarf that has a particular fancy for bronze, I'll have some bronze bars in stock, because in all likelihood a trader has offered those bars to me at some point. And I'll get some crystal glass and some clear glass and just have a little stock of all of the things that can be used for a strange mood. Or that can be demanded by a noble as well. Although I did get a noble that demanded a bed made out of crow's teeth. That didn't happen.
Wait, yeah, that's hard.
So yeah, that's worth bearing in mind. The elves never take... the elf diplomat that comes and talks to you from time to time, you can never place an order on the elves, but you can on the humans sometimes. Not always, but sometimes the humans will send a diplomat. It depends. I think it depends on the size of the settlement that you've got the contact with for the humans. Ooh, that's fancy. Oh my gosh, that's rather a description there.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Well, okay, so what happened was we got to talking about, having stuff around, and that got me to thinking about, well, I don't know if this is probably still a thing, honestly, but apparently if you put a workshop in a guild hall, they just won't stop if they claim that during a strange mood. So they'll just keep adding stuff in. So what I actually did is I brought over a couple of cloth bins, and they put a lot of cloth into that. Like I don't know. I crates and crates and crates and crates of cloth, and then I don't know, probably like a couple sprinklings of bone or whatever they like to do, but. Yeah, really, I don't even know how long this description is, right? Because if I'm scrolling like this, you actually get a sense of the scale,
yeah,
I think. But if I click around, it's like, okay, that's an item description, but it's like, no, this is like War and Peace. This is This is, it's really rather large.
Did you start playing this world at year 100? Because then you've been playing for 10 years. So that's not 10 years. That is not a lot of time to generate, post world generation stuff. Well, it's a bit of time, but it's not super much. How many fortresses have you had in this world?
Just this one. This is the only. This is
Then there must have been a lot of stuff that. The dwarves care about, or were forced to care about, maybe. to actually put on that item.
Yeah.
They also like to throw down some, like, I mean, honestly, it's so long, they probably forgot what they put on it already, and then just started, like, kind of repeating the greatest hits, so to speak, right? They like doing that as well. Especially when they have to put on several crates of cloth worth of stuff. But yeah, that apparently is a thing, which I remember hearing about. I kind of did by accident here. I just was like, I'll make some of these kind of like themed little guild halls and just kind of let them work out in there if they feel like. And I think that there's also some overlap with that. Someone's giving like demonstration or whatever in there, so some people can learn. And I was like, okay, yeah, I can just get that going. And then it got claimed, and I was like, I'll just lean into it and have fun with it. And then you just remove the like the little chunk containing the workshop from the guild hall zone when you want it to end.
Right.
So you can actually control to like how much goes into it and everything. So yeah, that was kind of interesting. That just sort of happened though. I didn't really like plan on it, so to speak.
So talking about traders, elves bring curious animals. If you want to get into alligator taming or giant squirrel taming or taming war lions, elves are your people for that. But the elves will refuse to trade anything that is made out of plant or animal. So you can't sell food, you can't sell anything made out of wood or cloth, or I don't think even silk. So you're stuck with rock and gems, metal. I think. I don't think I've sold anything made out of metal to the elves, so I can't be 100% sure about that.
Metal stuff to elves.
I think...
If they accept that. They do. I'm pretty sure they take metal stuff.
Right, cool. Yeah, I've no reason to think that they don't. I just can't actually remember of selling anything. Always worth... if you sell artifacts, because you're fine to sell artifacts. So when your dwarf's been in a strange mood and it makes something that is not useful to you, that you want to sell rather than have stolen, we'll talk about things being stolen in just a moment. You can sell an artifact to a trader, and the creator of the artifact doesn't mind at all. They hate it if their artifacts get stolen, and they hate it if their artifacts get destroyed, but they don't mind them being sold. But you've got to be careful when you're selling artifacts to the elves, because the artifact, it might be a glass goblet, but it might be decorated with bone or pigtail or something like that. And the elves will get upset about that. And if the elves get upset, eventually they'll stop trading with you, and then you won't get your war lions anymore. The humans, the most interesting thing that humans bring is whips. Whips are the most OP of weapons in the game. And you can train your dwarfs up as lashers. And always be afraid if you see an army of goblins or undead coming at you with a lot of whips, because whips cut straight through armor. One of the hardest weapons to deal with. The good weapons for weapon traps and good weapons to use for your dwarfs. And you treat them as though they were a hammer or a mace or something. You make them out of dense material like silver, because they're a crushing weapon, but they've got a very small contact area, so they're extremely effective. And that you can't make them, you can only acquire them from humans. So useful to, when you're setting out your embark, it is useful to see if you can find an embark that's got both human and elven traders. Saves you trying, like, going out and making contact.
Well, you can also get whips from dead goblins.
Oh yeah, of course.
Very handy.
Yeah, I actually didn't know they were at that That's strong.
Yeah.
I didn't know that either.
Makes sense, but yeah, that's news to me.
Does it though?
I mean, it makes sense within the logic of Dwarf Fortress.
Okay,
right? That's what I mean.
I mean, yes, if they are made of dense material, since they have like super small contact area, yeah, sure. Then the force impact calculated, I guess, is like immense. So dangerous stuff. I didn't know actually. No.
And to answer a question in chat, how do you make contact? Demand a one-time tribute? Yes. Send somebody out to go and demand a one-time tribute. And apparently that doesn't... I've not done it myself because I haven't had need to. Well, I haven't done it for a long time. I did it some years ago, a couple of years back. I haven't done it for a long time. But yeah, it doesn't seem to upset them. And because you've made contact, it can encourage them to send traders to you. But I always look for an embark where I've got humans and elves to trade with. And your own civilization will always send their own wagons. Will always send their own traders. And you'll notice at the start that the traders that you get are just pack animals and they can't carry much. You need to get yourself to the stage of being a baron before traders with wagons will turn up. That's the trigger for getting a trader with a wagon. Anything else we should talk about traders, do you think? Napster and Drid, anything to add with traders or diplomats?
I mean, honestly, you've been telling me stuff. I'm not sure I can. So yeah, I'm hesitant to really throw too much out there. Yeah.
One thing that is kind of neat with the premium version is that nowadays, when you have your discussion with the diplomat, that when you do your trade agreement, they tell you the two most wanted things.
Oh yeah.
Which. Yeah, that is in the dialogue. The two most wanted things. Before you had like look in, you got some stuff, and it was a percentage how much they were willing to pay, and that was what they wanted most. Now I usually don't care. Like they buy what I sell to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's still nice. However, it's good noticing that even if they print that out, you kind of need to remember it, or like before they come next time, you need to look it up, because when they arrive, the last agreement is like it's over, so it's not there. The information is not there anymore. So yeah, so
it's like a year old.
Yeah, exactly. So when you need it again, it's gone. So you just have to like look it up before it's too late, or remember it, or just sell them whatever you want.
Somebody did give me the idea of when you speak to the diplomat, changing the name of your trade depot to the thing that is going to be they're going to pay more for next year.
Makes sense.
But I keep forgetting to do it, and then I go back to my trade depot and wonder why it says amulets.
I used to put a note for each, one for dwarves, one for humans, one for elves. Text note close by to the trade depot, and I did wrote right there what they wanted. But I think that functionality is gone. But you can't write notes anymore on a tile. I used that to keep track of what they wanted. But I think it's gone. I haven't seen it yet, at least.
It'll be back, I'm sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
Then I will be using that again.
There is some of the functionality that we've lost. It's just because Toadie couldn't get the interface converted over to the Steam version in time for the release. So yeah, there's some stuff he's still working on.
Looking forward to the next big update.
Indeed.
Yep.
Oh, something to be aware of when you're trading is how much profit to give the trader. If you want them to bring a lot more stuff in future, the best thing to do is to give them a really big profit. So I try to send them away ecstatic. If I can afford it, I will send them away with a profit value that is higher than the purchase value. So if I'm buying 3,000 Jurists worth of... Apparently that's the name of the Dwarf books, is Jurists. If I'm buying 3,000 Jurists worth of stuff, then I'll try and give them a profit margin of 3,500. I
usually go equal if I can, like close by.
Yeah.
But I don't try to go above, actually.
Yeah, close or above. So if you go above, then they're more likely to bring more stuff next year. And just buying lots of stuff as well. So the more you buy, the more you sell, and the bigger the profit margin, the more they are encouraged. And I don't know if you've noticed, but they will tend to bring more of what it is you've already bought. So if, like with the elves, the more animals you buy from them, the more animals they'll bring in the future. With the humans, the more whips you buy, the more weapons they'll bring. They might not bring whips, but they'll bring... And it's like with the elves. You might be buying elephants off them, but they might decide to bring you squirrels. With the dwarfs, the other aspect to the traders is the better the relationship you have with both the diplomat and the trader, the more migrants you'll be offered. The more migrants will turn up. Because the news goes back with the diplomat and the trader about how wealthy your fortress is. And so that'll encourage more migrants. So if you want more migrants, sell more stuff.
It's also good to, give them gifts. I haven't checked the wiki if they changed that again. But last time I checked, the amount of offering you gave was connected to the elevation of your fortress. Maybe I remember wrong, but it can be.
I must admit, I'm a bit too stingy to give away gifts. I'll give away a profit margin, but yeah, I never quite get around to giving away gifts.
Okay, well, that is okay. You can use keep being your fortress, and so on.
Indeed. So that's all I can think about to talk about with traders.
Doesn't it also impact the amount of fun, so to speak, that gets directed towards your fortress, the amount of wealth you're trading away? So you can kind of be strategic about that potentially if you wanted to avoid that more so, and it being more stingy, wouldn't that lead to less notice perhaps from other potentially hostile civilizations?
Yes and no. It's tricky. The created wealth and the exported wealth, the traded wealth. There are two triggers with both of those. One to trigger the semi-mega beasts, the titans and things, and werebeasts, and another to trigger goblins. But there's also a population trigger, so I tend to control the invasions using the population trigger rather than the wealth. So, because if you keep your population below 50, then the only invasions that you will get from werebeasts or megabeasts or goblins is if they just happen to be nearby and stumble across your map. They won't be attracted to your map if you stay. They won't be attracted to your fortress if you stay below 50 population. So I tend to keep my population below 50 until I'm ready to deal with more.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just under the I was just told, I know that the trade wealth can definitely
it is one of the things.
Kind of stuff.
Yeah, it is. There are those three triggers: population, created wealth, and exported wealth. But it's difficult to keep your created wealth or your exported wealth below the trigger levels, but it's easy to control your population numbers.
How do you control your population numbers nowadays?
I use settings, I put a population cap on using settings. When I start my fortress, I put a population cap on. So that way it's like once we get to a certain level, I just put up a no vacancy sign.
Yeah, I was worried you were going to respond with like maybe a bridge and a lever or something, but I guess that's a way to do it.
Yeah, that just prevents too many migrants coming in too fast, and then when I'm ready to deal with the consequences of more migrants, I'll increase the population level at that point.
I was just looking in the settings and I just missed the settings for population cap. But yeah, it's there.
It is.
Well, you can't set it easily through the new pack anymore. You can do it in the settings.
You just do it in the settings, indeed.
Yeah, which is good.
Then probably the next visitor that you'll get to your fortress is the monster hunters. Maybe that might be either that or the performers. Monster hunters I find terribly useless. I don't know about you two. Monster hunters will start appearing the moment you crack open a cavern. Even if you seal it back up again straight away, the monster hunters will still come. Once they petition to stay in your fortress, if you accept them, they'll just hang around. Even they'll get upset if they can't go into the caverns. And if they can go in the caverns, they'll often just hang around in your fortress anyway, doing nothing. Just drinking your beer.
Do you mean when you accept an ass to what is it called? To be in your fortress, not to be part of your civilization? Or do you mean when you actually accept them as, one of your inhabitants?
Well, with monster hunters, they'll petition to stay, but you can't do anything with a monster hunter. They will never petition to be a civilian.
Maybe just my performers have done that.
Yeah. Performers, scholars, they will. Soldiers that turn up to your fortress, they will, but the monster hunters don't.
Soldiers. Okay, I might have mixed them together. Well, yeah, but I got, as I said, like 20 monster hunters. Like when I had my starting 7, I think I hadn't gone to any caverns yet. But maybe I'm misremembering. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the trigger for the monster hunters.
Okay.
Is opening the caverns. The next thing that you're likely to see is performers arriving. So performers will start. Well, the other visitors, usually performers. There's always usually lots of performers in the world. You'll see people turning up to your fortress who are asking if they can hang around and perform. There'll be performance troupes and individual poets and musicians and storytellers, and those people are arriving because you've got some sort of meeting room or guild hall or something that allows all people. So, Drid, could you click on one of your zones? Yeah, let's have a look here.
Yeah, like we're getting at this here, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So that guild hall there only allows members. So the members are people in your fortress who have that particular skill for a guild hall. When you place and that's the default for guild halls. When you place down any meeting areas, and then taverns, libraries, hospitals, and what's the other one? Temples. They default to all visitors. So as soon as something says all visitors welcome, they'll start attracting those visitors in. And that's when you start getting all of the performers turning up. So performers have something of a benefit, because all of the different performers will know different dances and songs and musical compositions and poetry, and each of your dwarves will have favoured things. So if you look at the description of a dwarf, you'll see often they'll say that they like the sight of something and the sound of something else. Yeah. So you have a look at his personality and his preferences. He likes the sight of the sensual lute. So that's probably a dance. And if you wanted to make that, to please that particular dwarf, if you've got a performer who turns up, now that the sensual lute might be an elven dance, it might be a human dance, it could be a dwarven dance, it could be a dwarven dance but from a different civilization. To get somebody to do that dance that he enjoys so much, having lots of different performers in your fortress can encourage the spreading of the knowledge of different dances and different musical compositions and things. So there is a benefit, but it's very much an edge case. 1 or 2 performers is not a bad thing, but you can get your own dwarfs to do that as well. So performers are a bit of a side product of opening up your fortress to visitors. If you allow visitors in your fortress, the most useful ones are soldiers. So soldiers will turn up and ask to join your fortress, and well, I mean, extra hands for your military. These scholars that turn up can start writing books in your library for you, which is, again, quite a useful thing, because if nothing else, you can sell the books if you don't want to keep them yourself. Your dwarfs will enjoy reading the books. Necromancers can turn up in your fortress. Now, necromancers are just people. You don't need to worry if you see a necromancer turn up in your fortress. They're not going to do anything terribly evil, probably. Unless they get scared. If they're scared by something, they'll start raising corpses around you. But usually necromancers are just ordinary people. But if you allow them in a library where they can write stuff, they may write the secrets of life and death. Which, if you want to convert your fortress into a necromancer fortress, is a good thing. And if you don't, it's a bad thing.
Necromancers are actually, even now we don't have adventure mode yet, but we will at some point. And even when you travel to a tower, like, of course, there's a lot of not so friendly undead zombies and such. But if you get into the fortress, these necromancers in there, they're just gonna be pretty normal people that talk to you and that you can talk to, and they won't be aggressive at all.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, unless they're at war with you, they'll be perfectly fine with you.
That's a thing.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh, yes.
Because I always wanted to get into that back in the day, but I kind of bounced off it a couple of times because I wasn't really used to the movement and everything, especially.
It's very different.
Yeah.
But now we don't know, I guess, how the UI for adventure mode is going to be. But the quick reference guide and the guide in general for adventure mode is very helpful, I find. That's on the Dwarf Fortress wiki. I have that open every time I played adventure mode.
Yeah,
to know
playing
what to do, so.
Fortress and Legends and Adventure Mode all in the same world really brings out the richness of the stories, I found.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'd played years and years and years of Dwarf Fortress, and intensely, but only ever either Fortress mode or Fortress and Legends. Or then I'd go and do a bit of Adventure mode, but I hadn't really linked them together. When I started linking them together, so I was finding the stories and then going out in Adventure mode and exploring the stories and going and seeing these things that I'd heard about or read about or something, and going and seeing them firsthand. It was really interesting because
Adventure mode is really good.
yeah, it's like when you start poking around and you see lots of, I don't know, maybe there's your dwarfs keep on carving artifacts about some battle that happened in a particular place, and this particular place keeps on cropping up in history, or maybe it's a particular person that keeps cropping up in history. I had one set of dwarfs once who were absolutely fascinated about the travels of a mummy to a particular monastery. And eventually I just went into adventure mode and went and visited the monastery and met the mummy. Because my dwarfs have been so fascinated, I wanted to go see it myself. And yeah, it really brings those things to life that you've been reading about. The sort of the stories that you hear, they are so much more real when you go out into the world and go and experience them for yourself. It's quite fascinating.
There is so much stuff in the world you generate that you do not see in Fortress mode.
Indeed.
Yep.
So it's very much worth it when it comes to also like of course you can send your own dwarves out from your fortress to hunt down an artifact that's lost or whatever, or you could do it in adventure mode. Also, when you're the adventurer, you can be the visitor to a fortress, which is nice.
Let me see if he'll pop up.
We should talk about the downsides of having visitors come to your fortress. Drid, you've got a story about this, haven't you?
Yeah, just a real quick thing. If anyone else is interested in, like, if you see, like, names popping up and stuff like that, like when I was playing this fort, everyone was, like, talking about this Inif Knife Perfect dwarf, right? I was like, well, who's that? That's no one here. As far as I could tell, there was no direct relation to anyone at my fort. This isn't, like, as in-depth as you would see from Legends mode, but something you can do is you can go and try to, just real quick, make, like, a rock statue. Doesn't matter if you actually complete it or not, but you can kind of use this as a, like, more brief Legends mode, sort of, because it draws from, like, a similar pool of knowledge. And you can get some information from this. Although I did have to go in Legends mode to find out that I guess he was a guy that was influenced by a necromancer to embezzle money, for which he was imprisoned. But I guess it was like, it seemed like it was like people regretted that, so I guess it's a popular sentiment that he's not guilty, but he's guilty. So, I don't know. That's just something I really like to do. Sometimes I'll have Legends mode even up on the side. In, like, a separate instance of the game, But yeah, as far as how visitors can kind of cause problems as well. Now it's time to talk about Dodik, I guess. So he was someone who came to my fort really early. Like, I think he was a summer migrant, first year. And I was looking around everybody and I ended up making him a military dwarf, which, I I don't know how I feel about that now. That first line, I should have maybe paid more attention to that he is in a constant state of internal rage line, right? There's some other people I've seen that have had that, but they haven't been as problematic as Dodic ended up being. So, what ended up happening is he was relatively normal for several years, right? He was always kind of unhappy. I think he just is kind of unhappy for the most part. But after an elven ambush in, what was it, 105 in this world, there was like initially a were antelope that attacked me, and then that was a whole thing. Then I was dealing with that, and then I had people up and around on surface, and then there was an elven ambush, and it got kind of messy. And during all of that, there was a pop-up that said someone had been snatched. I kind of thought that was an old pop-up that I forgot to get rid of, because, you know, it won't actually tell you, like, you know, this is from this date, this is this long ago. If you leave a pop-up over on the side, you know, it's there, you don't really get a lot of information on that. So I kind of just overlooked that. And, after that point, Dodic started to get increasingly more angry and less happy. Not long after that, he kind of flew into a rage, and he just started breaking furniture and stuff. At this point, you know, he was already a rather valuable military dwarf, as you can see from his stats here now.
Yeah.
So I was, you know, like, all right, if he wants to, you know, break the mill or, you know, random workshop here and there, like, that's okay. I just need to focus on making him a little bit happier. So what I did was I went and I made him this room with a platinum floor and masterwork, everything, platinum and silver floor. And his spouse and his daughter, they were thrilled. They were like, "Oh, this is amazing. This is the best. You know, this is the most valuable room in the entire fortress." Dodic didn't care. Dodic still really kind of maladjusted and angry, and unfortunately, this is where his story kind of takes a little bit of a darker turn, because he was hanging out in this room, I believe, when this was still kind of like my primary inn, and he was just sitting there fuming. Just kind of pacing around, and this thing kept popping up, saying that he wanted to be with family, right? And I had been trying to address that by giving him as much free time as I possibly could. Unfortunately, what ended up happening is that I had this dwarf named Smurfette. She was wounded in the elven ambush as well, and she couldn't really walk, so she was just kind of dragging herself around. So she dragged herself into this room, and then Dodic snapped and killed her with his bare hands.
Oh dear.
Which at that point I was like, all right, I'm done with you. You can go visit the Hammerer. That's it. I'm done with Dodic. For whatever reason, I couldn't convict him of murder, but the charges for vandalism and what have you were still in there, so I could still convict him for that. So, you know, the Hammerer goes over, beats him up, throws him in jail for a little bit, and then I was just gonna honestly Adam smash him. I was like, you know what, that was awful. You just you know, there was this poor veteran lady who got you know, so horribly wounded in the previous thing. I wanted nothing to do with him. But Chad had kind of a different plan for Dodic, right? So Chet's idea was, let's send him off on essentially a doomed mission. To recover an artifact for the fort. If he succeeds, you know, cool, we get an artifact, but he's gonna die, right? He's gonna die. It's whatever. He's gonna get captured, something like that. He came back. So then I held another vote as to whether or not what we should do about him. And we sent him out again. And he came back again. And he kept coming back. And he has, at this point, brought back just an obscene amount of artifacts. Like, he is essentially unkillable It feels like.
Oh, wow.
Like, I have put him into these stupid situations as a form of elaborate execution, and he just keeps coming back. So in one of these missions I sent him off on, I noticed that I actually have a dwarf that's captured by this goblin civilization over here. And I was like, hey, that's perfect. That's something to get some out of my fort. He's not going to be hurting anyone else, and if he succeeds, he brings someone back. As it turns out, the person he brought back was his son.
Oh, wow.
That's why he was so angry.
Oh, wow.
After that elven ambush, that I guess some goblins used to kind of sneak in and grab his son. And that's why he kept saying, like, he wants to be with family. And if you notice, I think I saw it in there even, right? Where was it at?
Yeah, being reunited with a loved one.
Yes, he felt joy remembering being reunited with a loved one. So I was like, wow, this just, this kind of like relatively elaborate like anti-hero story almost. Just kind of happened. At that point, I gained a little bit of respect for him, but at the same time, he just kind of brutally killed that other lady. So it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna keep sending you out anyway. So I kept sending him out anyway. And I kept trying to make him happy. One of the ways I did that is I actually, I tried to basically force him to pick up, like, crowns and amulets and all of that kind of stuff by creating a rotating, like, triangle of stockpiles.
Yeah.
Because, when they pick stuff up, they'll take it as their own, and they kind of need to do that to claim things. So I was like, maybe I can just make this guy look like he's, he's getting ready to bail himself out of jail or something, right? He'll be covered in jewelry, like, head to toe. And that'll make him happy. And, the thing is, I don't know if there's a better way to do this, but I isolated him in this room, but he also has, like, a family, and the family kind of comes with when I'm trying to isolate him. There might be a better way to do this, but yeah, unfortunately, I kind of sealed him in there with his family, and then he had another break in there, and he actually picked up his wife to, do Dodic things, and then he suddenly stopped, fell out of the tantrum, and then he felt ashamed. And I was like, God, this guy, I don't know, he's just such a character. It's kind of unbelievable that all of these things kind of clicked into place to result in this. So that I just kept trying to make him happy, essentially. And then he ended up killing someone else. And I, earlier, if you remember, was talking about how I have these forgotten beasts down here.
Yep.
So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go send him after, you can go fight one of the nasty ones and just die that way. No, he just killed it. He just killed it. He just effortlessly, systematically peeled it apart.
Wow.
I don't know. This character is the most ridiculous character I've personally ever had in this game. And I really feel like, even though he's got kind of like a grim story, just the fact that this happened without me like trying to force anything, it just highlights how amazing this game is for me. But yeah, that's the story of Dodic for right now. Anyway, I was still trying to make him happy. I was giving him his own dedicated mist generator.
I noticed.
To try to make him happy. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do with him. So right now what I'm doing is I'm actually saving this save for when adventure mode is going to be added. And then I kind of want to just go talk to Dodic. I don't really know what that's going to entail. Maybe I'll try to make a character that can beat him. I don't know. Because he's become like a boss at this point. It's ridiculous.
You might get more information about Dodek in general. Like, since you can talk to them, they might,
Indeed. He might
say
tell
what
you
they have
something.
in mind. Yeah. Can be
I'm
pretty
looking
interesting.
forward to that.
Like, super deep conversations, no, but you might get something out of them.
Indeed, he'll tell you what's on his mind at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, have either of you had any interesting encounters with visitors coming to your fortress who, like, were coming to your tavern or to your library, who then turned into a werebeast?
Oh. Usually, I have, Werebeast just, come as Werebeast.
Yeah.
I don't remember if I had any, like, that's been there. Like, not visitor, and, like, the first time they changed their inside my fortress. That's very unpractical. I have, no, I haven't had that.
You haven't experienced
not
that.
that I remember.
What about you, Drid? Have you seen that?
Yeah, no, I've heard about that happening to people, but yeah, my visitors are mostly just monster hunting grandmas. That I don't know. I guess retirement is different in this setting because yeah, a lot of the monster hunters I get are just like 80, 90-year-old human ladies just showing up and deciding to go mess around in my caverns until they end up, just dying of alcohol overdose. Really, in my I don't know. I don't have a lot of experience with any were people.
Yeah, so the majority of werebeast attacks that you will get will be from the werebeast just turning up at your fortress and it's come to attack. And it will, the first thing you know about it is when it walks into your fortress and somebody spots it. And you'll get the, now you know why you will fear the night message.
Yeah.
But it's really not that uncommon. I'm surprised neither of you've had a visitor turn in your either in your temple or your tavern. It's usually the tavern. I've
Not
had it.
that I remember. I have had a few fortresses, so.
I've had various performers turn into werebeasts, and a couple of times it's been a member of the trade party. So once it was the outpost liaison. I can't remember
sneaky.
whether it was the dwarven one or the human one. Was in a meeting with my mayor when he turned into a werebeast. That was awkward.
Yep.
Because, of course, those guys, like, loiter around your fortress for such a while that they're going to be there for more than a month, usually.
Yeah.
So that is a risk if you open your tavern or your temple or your library up to visitors, is that anybody out there in the world can be a werebeast. And if someone is driven out of their home because they've become an enemy, then they're going to be wandering the world. Now, if their profession was to be a performer, then, or an astronomer or a priest, but performers are more common, then when they turn up at your fortress, they won't just come and attack, they will come and present themselves as a performer first.
Yeah. It doesn't matter, of course, like, where, like, as long as they turn sufficiently close to your entrance or whatever safeguard you have, or, like, behind them, if they're in a meeting area or not, doesn't, well, then they used to have a lot of dwarves to start attacking right away, but if they're behind your defenses, they're gonna get to someone, and then you have the usual fun.
Of course, the other problem with visitors coming to your fortress is people who've been corrupted. Artifacts. Artifacts just attract thieves like flies. As soon as you make an artifact, there is a chance that somebody in your fortress will tell somebody else about this wonderful artifact that you have, and that becomes an item of desire that especially necromancers want to acquire. Not just necromancers, but others as well, but especially necromancers. And what they will do is they'll set up an intrigue plot to try and steal the artifact. And you will have, let's say it was a necromancer who is at the head of the intrigue. They will send somebody on their behalf to come to your fortress to then try and corrupt one of your own people through either blackmail or bribery or threats or flattery to get them to steal the artifact for them. So it's keeping visitors away from artifacts isn't necessarily effective because they will just corrupt your own dwarfs to go steal the artifacts. Which is why I sell mine. But there are other intrigues that visitors can get involved with. Like, I once had a lot of problems with dwarfs fighting in my tavern. And it was... I didn't have a barkeep, so they weren't getting excessively drunk, so that wasn't the cause of it. And they weren't unhappy, so that wasn't the cause of it. And when I started digging around, I was actually looking into something else, and I discovered that there was one of the visitors to the fortress was there to foment unrest in order to stage a coup. So, yeah, they were trying to overthrow my fortress, and they were doing it by fomenting unrest.
That sounds pretty civilization level. Anyway.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, there's the little things going on. So visitors are a wild card. There's lots of different types of visitors. Some of them do good things, some of them do bad things. You never quite know. So when I'm advising new players, I advise new players to not open their fortress to visitors until you're ready to deal with whatever the fallout of the visitors might be. So you might not want to attract visitors to your fortress, or because you're going to want a temple pretty early, probably before you've got a decent military up and running. So
yeah.
Putting down a temple but making it for citizens only is a good way to do it. Like Scooter says in chat, having a separate tavern that's outside of your fortress for visitors is another way to do it. They'll still walk into your fortress to come and pray or something like that. But you can have an entire set of buildings outside your fortress to cater for visitors, but your own dwarfs will go there as well. So you need to bear that in mind, that because I did try making a tavern at the entrance to my fortress so that if we got attacked by anybody, the visitors could deal with it first. But yeah, it just turned out that my dwarfs went there instead.
Basically a meat shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, very nice.
That's kind of how my animals function. That you now need, kind of.
They can also function as a meat shield.
Again, there was a lot of. There was more than a few animals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Before I usually made my taverns on the above ground outside in the beginning of my Dwarf Fortress play career or whatever you can call it. It just felt like it should be there because you're gonna get visitors, and I didn't think too much about that. And once one of the my strongest Dwarf Fortress memories is from long ago when I had one of these. I guess it wasn't too big because it was very crowded. I had lots of visitors in my outside fortress, and I've had a dwarf that I had a strange mood, and I had not handled it. It had failed, or I had failed, and that dwarf then went to the tavern to just hang around and be sad until I guess the meat shield activated, so to say. Until one day when the dwarf just snapped and started a big tavern fight.
Oh, wow.
Everyone got in on it, so to say. So it solved itself because there was a lot of, visitors there, and it got contained, so to say. But one of the visitors was an elf, and this elf got into the fight. And the interesting thing, it started like this, not very advanced, but the elf got into the fight and punched the newly raging dwarf in the stomach with a book. And I thought that was fun to begin with, it used a book as a weapon. And I talked about that on Reddit, and someone said that, you should go and look what book that is. And I didn't think of that. And I managed to go back to the tavern. The elf was still there with his book, and I looked at what book it was, and the book was named An Introduction to the Elves. And I still find this very funny that a dwarf got angry in a tavern, started a fist fight, an elf punched with his book called An Introduction to the Elves in the stomach of that dwarf. I still find that one of the it's one of my best memories. Most of my memories come from adventure mode, but that is from Fortress mode. A memory that is it's still good.
Well,
it's probably not going to happen again.
We are going to have to start wrapping up the stream soon. I should ask you both first, though. Are there any stories because I know we were chatting about some of the stories that we've got to tell. Are there any stories that you were bringing along that you wanted to tell us before we call the stream to an end?
That was one, and then I was thinking of another because you talked about have you had people turn into werebeasts in the tavern? I don't remember if I had that, but I had long ago in a fortress. I had someone, a human I think, turn into a werebeast inside of my fortress, or somewhere, and it's fighting, and some people got bitten and scratched and all that, and. But we killed we didn't kill the werebeast. We killed the human when he turned back again. And then I had several infected dwarves, and that is so that's a downside. Now I have infected dwarves, but the way I solved that was that they were taken to the. I guess I was lucky, or most of them at least. Were injured enough to be taken to the hospital.
Yeah.
And the way so I got a visitor, turned to werebeast, the dwarves got infected, most of them in the hospital. I was thinking okay, these are gonna heal themselves and turn into werebeast very soon again.
Yeah.
So I built my very creative, so to say, solution to this was not super effective. Was to build 2 bridges inside of my hospital on either side of the hospital, and then basically I just built walls in front of the door so that they couldn't get out. So when they turned, I just started flipping the switches to these bridges so they would be catapulted back and forth But most of the healers got hurt. Like it took several moons, so to say, for them to like all of them get killed. It wasn't super effective, but I managed.
Yeah, got there eventually.
Yeah, got there eventually, but it's kind of memorable. Like, okay, how will I solve this? Okay, they're in the hospital. Okay, I can close the doors. I can build walls so they can't get out. But how do I kill them? Okay, I can't kill them now because they're dwarfs and they're mine. Well, catapults out of bridges.
And Drid, do you have any other stories you want to tell?
I could just add on like a little thing about Dodic.
Yeah.
The last thing he did was I mentioned I put him in this room. One of his needs that he just must do, or else he just gets hyperfixated on that and nothing else, and he'll just end up snapping, is he apparently needs to vent his frustrations on the mayor.
Yep.
So what that entails is he just kind of wanders down over here and then goes in there and starts shrieking and crying at the, at the mayor. He goes back and goes in there and is sullen again. But he has also done some stuff that's genuinely kind of creepy. Like, this is the mayor's room. And there was like a couple of days before I kind of sort of retired this for it. For waiting for adventure mode, where he just walked into the mayor's room and just sat there and watched him sleep, waiting to cry and scream at him, and then walk back. I don't know about you, but man, I am really glad I'm not the mayor in this scenario, because, that's just got to be terrifying, knowing what this guy is, and then just on a semi-regular basis, he comes and just shrieks at you like, I don't know.
Any moment now.
Yeah.
He's gonna snap.
Yeah. It's just got to be terrifying for that mayor, but yeah, that's all I got.
Well, thank you both for joining me. Before we end the stream, I should point out that this is the last of this series of streams. Things are going to be changing from this coming week. So when we started this series of bringing people in to discuss individual topics, I'd proposed a series of streams to last for 3 months to Kit Fox, and they liked the idea, so that's what we've done. And but I put together a list of topics that we could cover, which covered 3 months. And so we've been chatting about what we should do next. And what we're going to be doing next, and you might like this, we'll still get occasional guests in though. Instead of doing 2 streams a week, we're going to be doing 1 longer stream a week. So it's going to be on a Saturday, and it's going to start at, hang on, what's this in Eastern? It's 11 p.m. UTC, so that is 5 less than that, 6 p.m. Eastern. So 6 p.m. Eastern next week on a Saturday. And what's happening is towards the end of May, it's actually June, is Kit Fox's 10th anniversary. And so towards the end of May, they are going to be having a big celebration on Steam, and they're going to be doing all kinds of events and things. And we were talking about what we're going to do for Dwarf Fortress, and we did have a plan where I was going to, for PAX East, we were hoping that we would be able to get Tarn to play one of my fortresses at PAX, but PAX were not keen on the idea. They didn't like the idea of just having Tarn sitting on a panel playing his game, so we had to scratch that idea. So we're bringing that back. So next week, we're starting a new series on Saturday here on Kit Fox Games, where I'm going to be restarting my tiny tower fortress, the one that you have seen. Let me just move Drid out the way for a second. This fortress here, which was the one I was going to give to Tarn at PAX. Tarn is going to be coming on stream with us at the end of May as part of the Kit Fox celebrations. And what we're going to do between now and then is building the tiny tower fortress, and then we'll be handing it over to Tarn. So we've got 2 months to build a fortress. 2 months to build a fancy fortress for Tarn to come on and play. Now, I've watched a huge number of things that Tarn has. I think I've watched anything I've been able to find over the years where Tarn has appeared on YouTube or done interviews, that sort of thing. I think anything I've found I've watched. And I've never seen him react to somebody else's fortress. I've never seen him play anyone's fortress. He's commented about how much he enjoys watching people play Dwarf Fortress, but he's never commented on a specific fortress. So it'll be interesting to see what he thinks of this fortress. And this fortress we only got part built, so yeah, starting next week, join us at 6 p.m. Eastern, which will be 11 p.m. UTC. And we shall start a brand new playthrough. So it'll be more of a let's play style thing, less of a dig into individual topics. But we'll get guests on from time to time. It might not be for the whole stream, might be just for bits and pieces. So we can have a bit of a chatter about stuff. I might bring people into like specialists in particular areas as we're dealing with particular things. Like maybe we'll bring Zesty in when I'm about to put in minecart tracks, that sort of stuff. But it should be fun. So that's the plan for next week. Next week we start a brand new playthrough. So I do hope you'll join me for that. And Drid and Napsa, I'd like to thank you so much for joining me and being my last guests for this particular series of streams.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. I'm glad you enjoyed it. In the meantime, let's go find somebody to raid.